So the first guy that's going to come up is somebody who's been a friend of mine for, 5-6 years now. I've had the honor of speaking on his stage at his events, and it's an honor to have him speak on our stage here. And so I'm really excited to share this guy with you. How many of you guys are members of Lab Coat Agents in here? If you guys aren't members of a Facebook group called Lab Coat Agents, what they've been able to do is something that I don't think anybody ever even thought possible. But they've been able to build this community of sharing, of learning, of growing amongst all of the top realtors, I'm assuming all across the world at this point. I've got to imagine your guys' reach literally probably spans every single continent on this earth. They've built this amazing Facebook group of over 100,000 people. And he's going to share with you today a little bit about how they did that, and really more importantly, the impact of the community that these guys have built. He's an amazing realtor out of Los Angeles, Ventura area. Tristan Ahumada, let's do this, man.
What are you doing? I'm going to walk around, say hi to people, shake people's hands. If you have babies, I can take pictures with babies too. Anyways, let's get started. Back in 1962, Sam Walton created Walmart. And he created it with one mission, and that was to help the average American save money and get by. And towards the end of his life, when he was dying, he looked back and he said, you know what? My vision, I made it happen. More importantly, I helped people save money to increase the quality of their life. But what happened after he died? A few years after, you had CEOs come in and forget about that just cause. That cause, that reason that he created the company in the first place. And then you started seeing all these lawsuits come out, and Walmart's slogan really meant nothing anymore. And they started dying out as the real reason behind creating the company in the first place. And this is what I'm going to talk about today. Just cause, the reason that you created your company, your business. These are really the 10 steps behind creating the community I created. So a lot of people say, well, why Facebook? It wasn't my idea, it was my wife. I wanted to create a blog. And my wife said, you know what, you should create a Facebook group to help out all the agents out there. And I said, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard. And then I went ahead and did what she told me to do. And so you look here, these are stats that are newer. And 2019, you see Facebook is still by far the #1 social media outlet out there. Then it's YouTube. Who's got kids here ages like under 16, under 15? Raise your hand. Most of them are on YouTube looking at all these Minecraft videos or to-do videos, and I just don't get it because I'm not on YouTube doing that, right? But it gives you an idea of where you need to be 10 years from now, 15 years from now, right? It's YouTube. So if you're not on there now, make sure that that becomes a plan of execution for you. Because all those kids that are on YouTube, they're going to go back to YouTube when they're adults. So Facebook's ahead right now, but we'll see what happens. Now, Facebook, a lot of people kind of wrote them out after that Cambridge Analytica problem. 2.23 billion people are still logging onto Facebook each month. That's a massive amount of people. They're not dying. They're not going anywhere. 8% increase over Q4 2018. That was after their scandal. That means they're still growing. So anybody counting them out, remember they still own Instagram, WhatsApp, and the Messenger app. And they just created this competitor to TikTok. We'll see if it works or not. Right, that's coming out late this year. And then the most important one to me is number 4. 400 million Facebook users participate in groups. That's a lot of people. And what you're noticing is groups are important for one reason. Main reason, groups are now their central focus. That's the last one there. When we visited Facebook, what was it, a year and a half ago, in comparison to earlier this year, Their whole model shifted into two things. Facebook committed to privacy. You see Zuckerberg up there talking about, this is important to me. I need to be more private in the sense of keeping your data away from everybody. I don't know that that's actually working, right? Because I go into Facebook and I know that all my data's out there, right? They're going to have my cell phone, my email, everything. And that's okay with me. More importantly, they said, hey, we're now going to focus on groups. We're now going to put more love into groups. So now on your feed, we're going to be showing people other groups. Hey, you should belong to this dog group. You should belong to this dodgeball group. And they're going to give you suggestions because they realize that this group thing that they created brings people together in a stronger sense of community. And so here's some examples. Peloton. Who's heard of Peloton? Oh, good. I love Peloton. And I don't even own one. But I love Peloton. It's this culture that they have, right? You go visit their group. You can go right now or later. Go to Facebook. Check out the Peloton group. People are going nuts over it. They're like, oh my gosh, I just bought a Peloton and I just joined this. And I'm like, I belong to the group and I don't own a Peloton. And I'm like, this is cool. I want a Peloton, right? I wanted to sit in the corner and use it for a month and never use it again. This is awesome. And then Lab Coat Agents. If you're not on Lab Coat Agents, check us out. We have a similar culture where people are super passionate about learning and giving. Right? That was the reason I created that. And then Grown and Flown, they're massive. I think they were over 200,000 people in that group. This is adults that have had children that are now grown and flown. But the culture is really strong. And then Ad Espresso focuses on Facebook ads. Miracle Morning, who's heard of Miracle Morning with Hal Elrod? His group is intense as well, more motivational, very deep. And then Love Livermore is a small group. It's about 10,000 people. But it's a community started by a couple of agents in Livermore. I think that's like Northern California. And she's got it down. She does such a great job. These are examples that I want you to see because it all takes passion. This is chapter 1 here. Passion. When I created Lab Coat Agents, it was out of passion. I was speaking for Realtor.com across the nation, and I kept on getting the same questions. Tristan, how do you convert these online leads? This was way back when nobody knew how to convert, nobody knew the tech was there. And I said, well, it's easy. This is what I do. This is the tools that I use. And so I decided to find a forum to be able to help people. That's where it stemmed from. To be able to help our agents, all of you, us, share best practices, ideas, systems, processes. That's where it stemmed from. Now I'm asking you, think of a passion that you have. Think of something that stands out that when you wake up, when I wake up every morning, I'm fucking excited. And my kids can feel it. And my wife's looking at me like, why are you excited every day? Because I'm living my passion. Not only am I doing what I love with real estate, I'm doing something I love by helping all of us grow together. So I'm asking you, what's your passion? And when you find that passion, you have an opportunity here, and this is not going to last a long time. This Facebook group thing, 2 years. Then you're going to be looking at something else. But you have an opportunity here to be able to grow this from a passion, by giving back, and making a ton of money. And nobody's paying attention. Here are the 4 types. Type 1, a special interest group, kayak, cats. Who likes cats? Who likes dogs? More dog people. All right, that was awesome. So I would start a dog group, like little dogs, a group about little dogs, and you guys go crazy. You'd get like 1 million followers in a month. But whatever you're passionate about, think about that. Type 2, community type group. This is where most of the real estate agents go to. I live in an area called Newbury Park. It's close to Malibu. And we've got a community group there as well. And we focus just on our track. Small, but we're impactful. So think of what you can do. Think of the presence you can have there. I always say you need to be a niche celebrity in your area so that when you walk into Trader Joe's, people know you. It's like, oh, I saw your post the other day. It's your community. Type 3, business groups. A company selling products like Pelotons, right? They've done a massively great job on doing that. And then type 4, like our group, a group that's there together to raise the standards of something. Number 2, brand it. Whatever you come up with, brand it. See, when I originally came up with Lab Coat Agents, you see on the top right there, that was the original logo. I got it on Fiverr for $5. And it was terrible, but that's what I went with. And it was kind of what I wanted, I guess. But I thought, what's the reason that I'm creating this? I thought, what's my passion? And that was what helped me create the brand. I sat with my ISA at the time, Jake Fry, in a room for 2 hours, and we came up with Lab Coat Agents exploring the science of real estate. Because that's what we wanted to. We wanted to treat this kind of like a process, systems. And so our objective came from there. The colors that we chose are really important. From the very beginning, with our branding, with your branding for whatever you want to create, think of, would somebody wear this on a hat? Would somebody wear this on a t-shirt, even if it's a small community, right? Think of all the way to the end. Would somebody want to be associated with my brand? Colors, the logo. We got rid of the dog because some people didn't like it. I liked the dog. But at the end, this is where we ended up here. This is our newest logo. We're releasing it late this year, early next year. It's a little bit more streamlined, thinner, but one thing that we're always doing is we're consistently improving, right? Number 3, build a team. So when you've got this group, this community, you need a team. Because you can't do this alone, especially the way that we've scaled it to monetize this. So if you're going to build a community group, or let's say a kayak group because you're amazing at kayaking, you find somebody else, like let's say Jesse. Jesse's over here. Hey, Jesse. I'm going to find Jesse, and I'm like, Jesse, what are you awesome at? You know what? You love reading. I love reading. Let's create a group about reading. Done. And let's call it Jesse Reads, right? Or something cool like that. We'll pick a color. We'll pick the branding. Got it. Now, we're the creators. Now we bring other people that are like-minded that can push that same vision that we have to help raise these standards. Think Sam Walton. Raising standards, right? It was never about the money. The moment you start thinking that this whole thing is about money, that's the moment that you lose. Because that's a finite way of thinking. Because once you reach that goal, what's next? You lean more towards, at the very end, I'll show you, an infinite mindset. Way that you can think, what can I create right now that can outlast my life? This is what I thought of when I created Lab Coats. So what you create, it starts as something so small as a group, but can change the way that your community lives. You change people's lives. Now, next, you bring in founders, admins, and moderators. These are the people that monitor, that help you grow, that can go into the group, into the community, and say, hey, there was an accident, if it's a community group, there was an accident on so-and-so street. Hey, by the way, there's a cop down this street. There's a lost dog over here. This is an amazing place to eat. This is what they do, and they come in and boot out the people that don't match that culture. Chapter 2, the tribe. This is all this that I'm teaching you is from experience. I reverse engineered what we created after we created it. What we noticed is that content and communities, it goes hand in hand. Without the real content in there to keep on bringing people back, the community will die out. And you can't guide the community as to what to post, what you stand for. Right? So in the audience, we've got about 3 moderator admins in here, and Jesse's one of them, Vanessa's one of them, and I don't know where the other one went. But Jesse and Vanessa, they have the same vision we do. They're going to create the content that I know is going to be good for those that are consuming it. Right? And that community can help us grow them, because then they're going to tell their friends or their neighbors to bring in more people because I'm not spamming them. Who hates spam? I hate spam. I hate selling because the way we sell is by giving value. Lots of value, lots of content. I don't have to sell. People come and ask me, hey, what area do you cover? Do you cover this area? Because I have a referral. Hey, can you come over here and speak because we need somebody to do this or that? Hey, can you do this? They just want to help because we never ask for anything. Or find your top tribe members. What happens is you build a community. Let's say for your area where you live here in San Diego, you find the people that are already good at social media and people that love what you're doing. And you say, hey, you're my top 100. Every time I post something, or every time I have a blog, or every time I have a video, or something like that, you're going to help by pushing it out as well. Now, instead of getting 2 or 3 shares, if you have 100, you're going to get over 100 shares on one. And then you start going viral. Now, people always ask me, how do you grow the group so quickly? Right? Well, it happened by accident, and I'll tell you how you're able to do it as well. The number one way to grow a group or a community fast, you pick the people that are in that community or of the same mindset, like readers, and they're going to have friends that love to read, or they're going to have neighbors that live in that community. And you say, Jesse, thanks for coming in. New group. Do me a favor, invite 1,000 people right now. And then my other admin, same thing. And by the end of a week, you have 2,000, 5,000 people. Sometimes Facebook will throttle it down. But instead of starting with just 100, you start with thousands. You just have to have the content. And this is how you grow a community. This is how you're able to give back and people engage with you. Growth, we grew organically in that way. We didn't do any ads, but we give so much value. It was already there when people arrived and they wanted to stay. You give value by teaching. You give value by showing what's in the community, showing what best books to read, showing how to kayak, what tools to buy, or where to go play dodgeball. Who plays dodgeball? It's like 0 people? 1 person, 2 people. You play dodgeball? Oh, we have to talk after. So then you think, how can I grow this outside of Facebook as well? You start getting emails and the questions that you ask at the very beginning. And then later you put some money behind it. We have videos that have over 2, 3, 4, 5 million views. And people just see us. It's just for the purpose of branding. We're not asking for anything. We grab the best content and we push it out. Same thing with your community. Grab the most amazing content by interviewing the place to eat, the place to get the best coffee, the coolest parks. Me and my kids go park hopping. We did a video on park hopping as kids. 5 best parks in the area, and we blasted it. We had 17,000 views, but it was all local. Now, this is what happened to us, a little quick timeline. 2014, I had Realtor.com taking me around the nation to speak for them. Then I created Lab Coat Agents. Then Commissions Inc. at the time took notice of a video that we did where we were using Commissions Inc. And they said, this is amazing. Can you do an event? Value. Can you do an event? And we'll pay for the whole thing. Just come to our place. I said, okay, sure, let's do it. From that, Espresso Agent, a new company, said, hey, can you launch our product? I'm like, sure, I've never launched anything, but let's try it. They had over 1,200 people join in a few months from a product launch of a company nobody knew. Next thing, Inman notices us. Inman says, you guys are pretty cool. You guys have a lot of good content. You mind if we put some editors in there to steal your content and post it up on Inman? I'm like, sure. Why not? It's kind of how it happened. And then Facebook took notice. They're like, who are you guys? You guys have some of the most amazing engagement, highest engagement of any groups. You're in the top 1% in the world for engagement. All because we give value. This is one of my favorite quotes. You can take a picture of it, save it for later. When you're sad, you can look at it. Maybe. Marketing is about spreading ideas, and spreading ideas is the single most important output of our civilization. You see, the idea stems from your passion. Whatever you're passionate about, you have the opportunity to create and share with the world what that is. And I'm giving you the process on using a free platform to possibly make millions from this. Now, outside of Facebook, this is what we were able to do. We've been able to monetize the group. Now our company, from a Facebook group, is worth millions from a Facebook group. We decided at the very beginning, well, what's the fastest way? Let's do affiliates. We're like, okay, where somebody joins a company or uses a product and we get paid a little bit from that. We then stepped away from it. It just didn't work for us, but it's a good start. Next is events like this. We gather together, give great content, give value, same thing. Next, ads, sponsorships. This one is you can duplicate a little better in communities. Let's say you want to build a community site or a group from Facebook. You go to your local places after I've had my admins like Jesse and Vanessa throw in a whole bunch of people in there and I have good content. I can go to the local coffee shop and say, hey, look, this is how many people I have locally. And this is the engagement. You mind if we do an interview, 2-3 minutes on who you are? And they'll be like, yeah, no problem. Show it to your group, get engagement, they'll share it. They'll love it, they'll get hooked. It's kind of like drugs. They'll get hooked a little bit. And then you go back to them and you say, hey, let's do this again 2 months from now. But there are some costs that I incur. How about you give me $1,000 and we'll do this a second time? Here are the stats from your first one on Facebook because I put $50 behind it and you got 10,000 views locally. And that second time, you get them to give a discount to anybody that sees it. Then you start monetizing this. Now, you can make more money, you can make a membership. I've seen companies make memberships from their groups, which is great. And then products, t-shirts, hats, that's good too. Now, number 7, I didn't put a 7 on this, but number 7, I've seen some companies from small Facebook groups get bought out or merge. Or for us, we've had the ability to impact the industry so much that companies now approach us and say, hey, here's a piece of our company, here's a percentage, can you help us grow? And there's one lady that I'm talking to up north, San Francisco, has a similar situation. She's got 13,000 people, and now she's been approached by a local company. She runs a mom group. You've seen mom groups. Those are like famous everywhere, right? Mom groups. Well, she runs a really great mom group where now she has a company approach her, says, hey, you want to partner up? I'm a startup. I'll give you a small percentage ownership. I just need your group to start. The power of groups isn't going to be here for a long time. So when people are telling you, hey, now's the time, now, yesterday was the time. You've only got a year on this because they're going to get saturated and then your voice won't be heard. Not the same way. All right, so when we decided to finally start an actual company, it was when we got a $20,000 check made out to Lab Coat Agents, and I didn't have a company called Lab Coat Agents. So I didn't know what to do with the check. So we created a company. And so I had to go through the whole process. I had never created a company before. So we found an attorney after going through 3 different attorneys who didn't understand intellectual property and social media. That was tougher than I thought. Then we got a CPA. We went through 3 CPAs because they didn't understand what we were doing. And they had to help us create these contracts. Then we hired employees, VAs, and then we created an org chart just so that we knew what we were doing. Everybody had their responsibilities. So you can do the same from a company, a small company. And let me see here. There we go. Now, outside of Facebook, this is what we've been able to do. This is what you can do. This is what we're actually trying to replicate right now in my area, where we're trying to, from a small community group that we have, we're creating a podcast for the community, interviewing local businesses and telling the story to the community. Because sometimes there's some great businesses out there, and you live in that community, and you're like, how did they start? This is so cool. Well, and that's what we're doing. Locally, niche. Remember, you want to be a niche celebrity, and this is the ability to do that. Now, we also have a blog, which you can do, right? Email has been a great form to bring back these people. Jesse, you originally told me, hey, you should focus on email. What are you doing? So Jesse Bedoin from Call Action, he's the one who originally told me, I think it was 2-3 years back, he said, hey man, focus on email. So we shifted a little bit and said, okay, let's make a plan for email. Now, because of email, so think of this, when you have people join your group or community, you have the ability to ask 3 questions. They can be whatever you want. Make one of those, what's your email so we can add you to our newsletter? You'll get people to say, fuck off, that's okay. Those people that put it in, which is like 1 out of 2, which is a really high number, I have no time left, so give me a minute. Perfect. I thought I was going to blow up. I was like, what's going on? We're good. All right, so email is really important. Make sure to ask for email because it's not dead. It's just on the content you're delivering. It's probably terrible, right? So make sure that it's good content. We don't spam you. And then obviously swag, and then we've created LCA Marketing Center as a product, an actual product, so you can use it to create listing presentations, buyer presentations, whatever you want. But this gives you an idea of what the possibilities are. And then number 10, here's where I wrap up. I'm almost done. Thank you. I got you. I'm just joking, dude. It comes down to your mindset. I wanted to start with this, but I prefer ending with it because I think it was I'm doing this off of memory, so I think it was 1981 when IBM jumped into the PC world. And Apple was, at the time, the one that was dominating it, 1981. And instead of them having a finite mindset where they're like, oh my gosh, IBM the giant, Big Blue, or whatever they're called, is coming into our world, they decided to look at this differently. And I'm telling you this because we're threatened, at least we see it as a threat, we're threatened by Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com, all these companies. Apple decided to instead buy a whole section on the Wall Street Journal and say, hey, welcome. Welcome, IBM. It's nice to have you on board. Let's change this world together. What a difference, right? They weren't calling them a disruptor. They understood that this was part of it, and it helped them define who they were. Now, Apple was the one that was created. They were very creative. They're thinking, you know what, we're different. So take this time right now that you have, whether you're going to create a group or you're re-identifying who you are because of the shift that we have, take the opportunity to identify who you really are. What differentiates you? Because we don't just sell houses. We're integral to the part of this whole real estate thing. We're not going to get kicked out. We just have to find ourselves again. That's it. What's your passion? How do you help people grow? You want to create relationships so 10 years down the line, whoever comes down isn't going to kick you out because you know who you are, and guess what? Your clients and your friends and your relationships know who you are. They'll go back to you. So instead of being threatened, instead of calling these companies disruptors, which they are not, because we've had these for years, think of it as an infinite game. It's going to happen all the time. What are you creating right now to outlast your life? That's it.